Tonight, Katie Price's anger at the Met police officers accused of mocking her disabled son.
It's disgusting. It is shocking. It's shocking and it upsets me.
The officers shared hugely offensive messages about the star and Harvey, leaving her in shock at the graphic and upsetting content.
I teach my kids to say that police will protect you. I have been told some of the content that's been going on in court today. It is worse than I ever thought. Something has to be done. It is disgusting behaviour.
The officers are also accused of sharing racist, homophobic and sexist messages. Tonight, we'll have the detail and Katie Price's reaction. Also ahead. The 700-year-old ancient law that could stand in the way of Smithfield Market's big move. A 4-day working week moves a step closer after a successful trial in London, and Blur's drummer Dave Rowntree will be here, revealing all about going solo. Good evening. Disgusting, shocking and heartbreaking. That's the reaction tonight from Katie Price, who's found herself at the centre of a scandal involving 8 Metropolitan police officers, some of whom are accused of mocking her disabled son Harvey in a private WhatsApp group. Details of highly offensive remarks were read out at a disciplinary hearing today. The officers are also accused of sharing homophobic, sexist and racist messages too. 6 have now quit the force. In an exclusive interview, Katie Price tells us of her anger and disgust and that she wants those responsible to meet her son face to face. A warning, Rags Martell's report starts with details of those messages.
So I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but I've got some comments here. I mean, some are just too shocking to say, but just so your viewers get an idea.
These are messages from police officers.
There's one here. It's got a horrible swear word in, so obviously I'm not going to say that. It says, for a swear word, we can't see, he can't find his way to the fridge and a biscuit jar with little difficulty. Like, that's mocking Harvey again about him being born blind.
Racist, misogynist and disableist. Private WhatsApp messages from serving Met police officers. Among their many targets in their chat, Katie Price's son, who has a condition called Prader-Willi syndrome and is autistic.
Now, this is a WhatsApp group made by 8 police officers. And it's not just a few messages. We are on about a lot, and it's been going on for 2 years. Something has to be done. It is disgusting behaviour. They are disgusting human beings.
At the time, they were all police officers working for the Safer Neighbourhoods team. Of the 8 members of this WhatsApp group, 6 have since left the force, but all are subject of an internal misconduct hearing.
What's your reaction that serving police officers were talking about your son in a derogatory way?
What I'm shocked about is we look up to police officers to protect us. And I teach my kids to say that police will protect you. Now, you've got like 2 sergeants here. You've got 8 police officers, 1 female, and the rest are male officers. I have been told some of the content. It is worse than I ever thought. Like, I know you can Google stuff and people are horrible about Harvey, but this is a private WhatsApp group. I do respect a lot of police out there. I really, really do. They do an amazing job. But to be let down by people like this, it's despicable, especially 2 sergeants. I mean, come on, they must have been in there for years.
This is the latest scandal to damage the Met Police. The force's image already blunted by murdering PCs like Wayne Couzens and the serial rapist David Carrick. The majority of the messages written between 2016 and 2018 are so explicit they cannot be broadcast.
What should we do, your mates?
Katie Price has long campaigned for fairer treatment of her son. Harvey's law seeks to end abuse from online trolls.
I definitely think people should be educated better. And the problem is, if we sat here and verbally said some of the things that have been saying, people would be so offended by it. But sometimes when it's written down, people aren't taking it as seriously as if it's verbally. If someone was verbally racist, you know about it, it's in the papers, they get arrested, they get done for it, but it should be treated the same if it's written down.
What would you like to see happen after the hearing has finished? Would you like a personal apology from Mark Rowley, the top Met police officer? Compensation? What are you looking for?
I would love them to meet Harvey, even though Harvey doesn't really deserve that. But for them to meet Harvey, to make them realise what they've done. Yes, definitely an apology. Compensation, that didn't even enter my head. You know, they came to me. This isn't about this. For me, this isn't a money-making thing. I just want an example done. Because what I've gathered, it's not just about Harvey. There's other things they have said about other people. And I'm absolutely shocked. And as a mother, I'm so heartbroken, so upset that if Harvey luckily doesn't understand it, but I do, and my other children do, they're old enough to read this, and my family, something has to be done.
This misconduct hearing is set to last 4 days. But what's really being discussed here is the reputation of the Met Police.
Yeah, and as you just said, Rags, this is day one of a 4-day hearing, isn't it?
Day one, and it's already just so shocking. I was at the hearing this morning and I had to relay what was being said to Katie Price, and she's abroad on holiday, but I felt embarrassed just passing on the messages to her from what was being said of the police officers. But Katie Price and her son are just one target, and there are many, many more. The content of the messages was summed up as profane and vulgar, sexist, racist, homophobic and discriminatory language throughout. There was even a reference to Auschwitz. Of the 8 police officers, 6 has now left or resigned from the force. 1 former officer is refusing to take part in the proceedings. The chair of the disciplinary said the actions are so serious as to justify dismissals anyway. You can see more of our report with Katie Price online on itv.com/London.
OK, Rags, thanks very much. A court heard how an alleged organ harvesting plot victim turned up at a police station in Staines pleading for help once he realised what was going on. It's claimed that the 21-year-old from Lagos was being lined up to donate his kidney to the daughter of a senior Nigerian politician without his knowledge. Our senior correspondent, Ronke Phillips, was in court.
This is the moment in May last year. The 21-year-old walked into Staines police station to plead for help. He claimed his employers had trafficked him into the UK so they could harvest his kidneys for a transplant procedure. The Old Bailey jury has heard the man, who can't be identified for legal reasons, is a Nigerian trader who'd been selling mobile phones on the streets of Lagos. It's alleged he was enticed to the UK with the promise of work, only to discover once he was here, he was expected to donate his organ. In body-worn footage shown to the court today, the victim appeared to be crying and distressed when he walked into the police station and spoke to a woman on reception. He repeatedly told the woman that he had no paperwork or ID, having been brought to the UK by a man he met in Lagos. He said he'd been taken to the hospital to remove his kidney, but when the doctors told him he was too young, it's alleged the accused said if it wasn't done here, he'd be taken back to Nigeria so it could be done there. On being told he was in Staines, he said, "I don't know anywhere, I don't know where I am. I was sleeping 3 days outside around, looking for someone to help me, save my life." Jurors have seen a photograph of the street trader smiling and sharing a meal with the alleged recipient, 25-year-old Sonia Ekweremadu. It's claimed that he was coached before meeting doctors at the Royal Free Hospital in London and was told to say he was her cousin. In fact, they are not related. Sonia Ekweremadu is seen here arriving at the Old Bailey this morning with her mother Beatrice. Also on trial is her husband, Ike Ekweremadu, a Nigerian politician, along with the so-called medical middleman, Obina Abeta. All 4 face charges of conspiring to arrange or facilitate the travel of the young man to Britain with a view to his exploitation. The trial continues. Ronke Phillips, ITV News.
Two teenagers have been arrested on suspicion of murder after an 18-year-old was stabbed to death in Crawley. Police were called to Malthouse Road in West Sussex in the early hours of Monday, where they found the victim with serious injuries. He died at the scene. Transport for London have confirmed that the safety upgrade to one of London's most dangerous roundabouts won't be finished until later this year. Originally due to be completed by the end of 2020, the Old Street roundabout is expected to reopen with protected cycle lanes and pedestrian crossings by the summer. And police have renewed their appeal for any information that might help them find a couple on the run with their newborn baby. It's been more than 6 weeks since the car Constance Martin and Mark Gordon were travelling in was found on fire on the hard shoulder of the M61.
We know they travel quickly, and it's really asking people to remain vigilant, not also to look for them just as a couple and a baby, but to look for them individually, and have they been coming into your shop for groceries, for local amenities for the baby, or have you provided accommodation to someone who fits the descriptions that we provided?
It was supposed to be relocating to Dagenham for the first time in 800 years, but the plans for Smithfield Market could be in doubt tonight. And the reason centres on an ancient medieval law that Havering Council could enforce. Well, our political correspondent Simon Harris is there for us. Simon, what more do you know about this?
Well, as you say, Charlene, there's been a meat market at Smithfield for more than 800 years. While most of us are still asleep, the traders are busy selling their meat to restaurants and hotels, to butchers and suppliers. But the Corporation of London wants to move Smithfield, along with Billingsgate Fish Market, to a new site at Dagenham Dock. It says the £1 billion project will help regenerate that part of East London and allow Smithfield to be redeveloped. But before it can happen, Parliament must first pass a new law. However, Havering Council is threatening to challenge the move using a very old law. In 1247, King Henry III granted a royal charter to Romford Market in Havering, which basically says no other market can exist within a radius of a day's sheep drive of Romford. Now, a day's sheep drive turns out to be 6.6 miles, and the new market site at Dagenham Dock is within that distance. Havering councillors fear the meat traders will take business from their historic market in Romford. So they're demanding that it's written into law that the new market will be wholesale only and have no retail element at all, so complying with King Henry's 760-year-old royal charter.
We shall see what happens next. Simon, thanks very much. Still to come, from warriors to warriors. Sally meets the 10-year-olds tackling their carbon footprint, and...
I'm comedian Babatunde Eleshe, and I worked for TfL for 6 years.
Well, you might hear a familiar voice on the tube. But first, how would you like to reduce your hours to 4 days a week without a cut in pay? Well, the change is edging ever closer after a successful trial in London. It went so well that many of the firms have said they're happy to make it permanent, as Antoine Allen reports.
Would you like to only work a 4-day week? This startup in Tottenham is one of 61 businesses that like the sound of change to their work-life balance and chose to sign up to a 6-month trial.
Joseph, how did you feel at the end of the 4-day week compared to your normal 5-day weeks?
Much more energy, a feeling the week feels longer.
The sound like these employees now have a midweek break. All day Wednesday is their free time.
And then weekends are off.
And what happens Wednesday morning when you get emails, calls and there's nobody here?
Yeah, it's a good question. Do our best to try and ignore it. You know, clients do know that we're closed and they've been very understanding.
Predictably, the study has found that staff are in favour of being paid 100% of their salary for 80% of their previous hours. Ollie says the change has also been good for business.
We're talking just in terms of money, great. We like doubled our turnover from the previous year. And I wouldn't want to say that, like, you know, the 4-day week did that alone, but if it's a contributing factor, you know, fantastic.
This is a loud but small business situated in a co-working space. So the question is, how easily will big businesses that are in offices with thousands of staff be able to make the transition from a 5 to a 4-day week? The campaigners say 56 employers have continued the trial, with 18 stating the 4-day week was here to stay.
Sick days reduced by 65%, staff being able to hold on to staff by like 70% more. So staff, you know, the ability to retain staff, attract new talent to organisations really boosted as well.
Critics say the productivity survey conducted on 3,300 employees on the trial is not conclusive, which means most people's 5-day week won't be taking a holiday. Antoine Allen, ITV News.
Now, our guest tonight has had a plethora of careers: politician, solicitor, composer, animator. He's studying for an astronomy degree and is also is member of one of the biggest bands of the 90s. The unmistakable sound of Blur, obviously. Well, Essex-born drummer Dave Rowntree is now adding solo artist to that list, releasing his first album, Radio Songs.
Roar like lions, cry like lambs. You roar like lions, but you die.
Oh, Dave, it's such a beautiful sound. Have you wanted to go it alone for a while?
Well, I guess you know, I had to have the courage to do it and the time to do it, really. And you know, I've been working as a film composer for about the past 10 years, and that's gone quite well, and that kind of gave me the courage to do it, really. And it's a very different thing, kind of sitting at the back playing drums, versus, you know, bearing your soul at the front, you know, with the lyrics that you've written, the songs being about you, the spotlight being on you. So,
and how are you coping with it?
It's all right, actually. It's going quite well.
Not too bad, not too bad. Let's talk about the name, Radio Songs. The name of the album, that's linked, isn't it, to, I mean, I've got it here. Radio Songs, it's linked to your time growing up in Essex, isn't it?
It is. My dad, when he was a young man, was a radio engineer in the RAF, and so he got a love of electronics from that he passed on to me. And, you know, whereas some dads and sons might go fishing or play football or whatever, he and I used to sit round the kitchen table building radios with over a hot soldering iron, plugging them into the antenna in the garden and tuning in stations from around the world. And that's something I still do today. And radio's been a big... radio technology has been a big influence on my life in all kinds of ways, and obviously also radio has been instrumental in my career in various ways as well.
And it was a bit of escapism for you as well, because home in Essex wasn't always that great, was it?
No, I come from the standard alcoholic family, you know, are any of those standard, but yeah, it was a way of escaping that, dreaming about life elsewhere, especially, you know, long wave, which is threatened at the moment, as I understand it, but long wave is especially good for people looking for escape, for expat Brits living abroad, because, you know, you can tune in stations literally from all over the world and dream of what life might be like there. And you did you do singing lessons for this album? Afterwards, yes. When I decided to play a few shows, I thought you can sort things out in the studio in a way that you can't live, you know, face to face with the audience. Yeah. So, yeah, I had some singing lessons. Yeah. It's a good shortcut, that, really, rather than having to make all the same mistakes yourself over and over again. You just ask somebody else how to do it. Now, the big question, of course, is you're going to be at Wembley with Blur, 2 sold-out nights in July. Will you be taken to the mic, do you think? Unlikely, I would think. Unlikely. Though I should say there are still some tickets available on the Sunday. So if people want to come along, there's still some tickets available. But yes, it's very, very exciting. And, you know, there are very few things that we haven't done as a band, but playing Wembley Stadium is one of them, and somebody came up with that idea.
Genius.
And you just can't say no to that kind of thing, can
Well,
you?
I know thousands of people that are looking forward to that. Dave, it's been an utter pleasure and an honour to have you in the studio. Thank you.
The pleasure's all mine. Thank you very much.
And Sally has joined us in the studio as
I
well.
won't
And
ask you if you were Blur or Oasis.
No,
That would be the wrong
no, we
thing
can't
to
go there.
ask.
Can't go there. You went back to school today, didn't you?
Well, every day's a school day for me. But yes, I met a very nice man called Henry Greenwood and the kids at Bentham Primary. And he's so concerned about climate change, he decided to do something about it, to go into schools, to teach them about carbon footprint and try and get them to find the solution. So in the latest in our series, From Climate Warrior to Climate Warrior, here is Henry and the kids in Bentham.
School has long been a home for daydreamers, but it's not always just the students. Henry Greenwood was a teacher who dreamed of helping children help their schools help the planet. Now he's very much making that dream a reality.
We could be doing harm to ourselves as well if we don't look after the environment.
So I was a secondary school maths teacher, working in a school in Enfield, and just looked around the school and saw that such little was being done to raise awareness about climate change.
Henry started to change his school, but it wasn't enough, and soon he quit teaching to set up the Greener Schools project.
My back is up against a lovely warm radiator here. Is that a problem for the carbon footprint?
Yeah, because this is using energy.
Bentham Primary in Hackney is one of dozens of schools benefiting. The project is unique in that it teaches the kids to calculate their school's carbon footprint.
We're working out the inverse for 256 and 880.
Smart kids, and they're about to find out the results.
At least if we know it, then we know that what we can do to reduce it.
Knowledge is power, isn't it? Okay, well, good luck.
It turns out the school needs to work on emissions from energy and food, and it's the kids who'll come up with the solutions.
Maybe we could hold like a competition, and the healthiest meal that's really good for the planet, the top 3 would become part of the school menu.
Perfect, that's a great idea. Everyone loves the competition, don't they? Yes. You've already fulfilled one dream. What's the big dream, the goal now?
We would love to see this as kind of as standard for schools, for every school to measure their carbon footprint.
Climate change can seem overwhelming, but Henry and these kids are showing that solutions can be found and the problem can be solved.
Sal, it's Pancake Day today. You look like a woman that's probably already had her pancakes today.
I'm not going to ask why you think that. It's because I'm organised, right, isn't it? Well, I did have a little taste, but I didn't make them. My husband did. But someone who has been making them is the Princess of Wales. Let's take a look at these pictures. She is good at everything, the Princess of Wales. So I did take a tiny bit of delight in telling you that she wasn't great at doing this pancake. But like I said, good at everything else. Here we go. Here's the weather.
ITV London weekday weather is sponsored by Octopus Electric Vehicles. Car, charger and energy.
Hello again. Well, so many birds are busy building their nest. Look at this little one. Hello, fella. It's quite a small house. This one, on the other hand, is building a palace, apparently. Look at the size of that stick. It's nearly as big as the heron itself. Good luck. Anyway, we've got some patchy rain around tomorrow. And then for Thursday and Friday, fair bit of cloud, maybe a bit of early rain, but the day should improve, bright at times. And as I said, it's turning cooler as we go through the week. Our air becoming more northerly and more northerly flow. So let's take a look at tonight. Pretty dry for the most part outside. Still a lot of cloud around. It should stay dry for the first half of the evening. As we go towards tomorrow morning, we'll just start to get a bit of rain moving in. Temperatures not quite as warm as or as mild as last night, but still mild for the time of year. Lows of 5 to 7 degrees, so it won't be too chilly first thing. Could be a bit damp though, as I said. We have got rain around tomorrow, patchy in nature, a little bit on and off, intermittent, and plenty of cloud as well. And our temperatures, again, they're going to be a little bit lower than today, so highs of 7 to 10, which brings them back round to where they should be for this time of year. Now, if you've got plans in the evening, many places will just be cloudy by then, but couldn't rule out again, a little bit of rain here or there as we go through Wednesday evening. Thursday, Might still be a tiny bit of rain first thing, but clearing up. Quite a bit of cloud around, but the day should brighten up and improve. Perhaps a similar story for Friday. And you can see our temperatures coming down by day and by night as well. We have some fairly chilly starts compared to what we've had just recently. At the moment, Saturday looks a bit brighter. That's it. I'll see you later on. Cheerio.
ITV London Weekday Weather is sponsored by Octopus Electric Vehicles.
And finally, you'll recognise this next man from his stint with me on I'm a Celebrity. My mate comedian Babatunde, or B as I called him. Well, before his life in the spotlight, he used to work for TfL, and today he helped them celebrate the Tube's 160th birthday, and Sam Holder went along.
Hi, I'm man like Babatunde Aleshe.
If you've ever complained to TfL, you may well have been speaking to a celebrity on the other side of the phone.
I'm here at Stratford Station to help celebrate.
His voice now rings out as a special announcement marking TfL's 160th anniversary.
Look out for more celebratory activity.
Because before his stand-up career took off, Babatunde Aleshe worked for 6 years in TfL's customer care department. An experience that gave him the drive to make his comedy career work.
As great as it was earning money, this job, it ain't pretty, you know what I'm saying? Getting shouted at 24/7, 6 years straight by people you don't know and you're trying to help, it's not easy.
Recording the new announcement at Stratford Station meant a chance to catch up with old colleagues, like Phil, his former manager, and Arabella.
When I'm Celebrity came on, my daughter's a massive fan, so we were sitting there and I wasn't aware of the lineup, and I was like completely flabbergasted. It's like, oh my God! It's like, oh my God, I know him!
Baba was still working for TfL in 2020. 2 years later, he's on I'm a Celeb, alongside ITV London's finest. I thought I'd use the chance to try to find out any gossip. So you lived with our very own Charlene White in the jungle. What was she like as a campmate? What was she like behind the scenes?
You know what? Charlene is one of the most decent human beings I've ever met in my life. There's no fault in her.
No luck there then. Given his newfound status, will Baba even get the chance to hear his new announcement? Do you still actually take the tube, or is it stretch limos only?
Nah, bruv, man takes the tube. What are you talking about, bro? Listen, everybody, if you're on, what line do I normally take? Piccadilly line, Northern line. Trust me, you will see me. I'm sat, bruv. I'm sat down. I'm still humble. I'm still there. You know what I'm saying? When I start making a little bit more money like Mo Gilligan, then the stretch limos and the Bentleys are going to come out. But at the moment, we on the underground, bruv. Trust me.
Sam Holder, ITV News.
Oh, B is definitely one of my favourite humans. Right, Mary's here next with the ITV Evening News. But for me and the rest of the London team, enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.